peace. We will live in peace. Hello. I don't have a good voice. I do believe that we shall live in peace someday. And nothing says peace like doing a business report.
Yes. Okay.
So I'm Jean Allen, and I'm the secretary of the Pax Christi, Massachusetts, and I have our annual report, and I'll do other bits of our business meeting as well. So since the last assembly, Pax Christi, Massachusetts is working on two main initiatives: nuclear disarmament and outreach to youth. It has held an assembly, a retreat, 4 quarterly board meetings, 3 virtual and 1 in person as a retreat, as well as several ad hoc and support meetings. We have published 2 newsletters. We have a web page, which Linda Taylor has been upgrading diligently. In addition, we have established 2 groups that work on specific issues. The Pax Christi New England Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons, known as PCAN, and the Pax Christi Massachusetts Palestine Action Group. These groups will give brief presentations after the treasurer's report, and both are open to new members. We've co-sponsored the Good Friday Stations of the Cross and Agape's Francis Day celebration, and have signed on to many letters and initiatives. Local groups also co-sponsor events, such as many Hiroshima and Nagasaki remembrances, and we work with Campaign Nonviolence, Back from the Brink, Moms Demand Action, Mass Peace Action, and other secular groups. 2 board members participate in the Pax Christi USA Gun Violence Prevention Working Group. Our coordinators, co-coordinators, are Father Rocco Popolo and Phil Herrick, who had to step down due to family issues. And I'd like to thank everyone who's been part of today and part of what we've done in the past year. And now Nancy Carapezza, our treasurer, will give our treasurer's report. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Usually I have the podium to hang on to. Sorry about that. Okay. We currently have the following amounts of funds in our accounts. In our savings account, we have $2,500.94, and in our checking account, $1,105.66. This past year, our total receipts were $5,849. That includes all your donations and registrations. Our expenses for our retreat and assemblies this year, not including today, this is the past fiscal year, were $4,009.10. Our newsletters that you receive twice a year were $2,592.28, and our sponsorship with our Agape partners was $1,000. So our major expenses were $7,601.38. We also had a local league, or not a local league, a local Pax Christi sponsorship this year in Western Massachusetts for $250.
We gave some small stipends for travel to our national conference and to Selma mission trips for $700. And our just generally our pubs donations came out to $370. So our minor expenses were $1,290. So we are at a deficit of over $3,000 this year. However, we've had so many contributions in the past that has been able to sustain us. Since COVID, we have been running at a deficit each year. Since we do not expect dues, we rely completely on the donations and registrations made from our members. And this year, we have lost two of our most consistent and generous donors who kept our usual deficit amount low. However, there are many other donors that we know will come forward, and we greatly appreciate the generosity as well as the incredible kindness of those who have sent memorial and annual donations. Of course, we could not exist without the support of so many people who made donations, not realizing how significant and meaningful each donation and contribution is. We thank you very, very much. We would not be accomplishing all that we do without volunteers and participants at our programs. We're grateful to all present here at St. Susanna's today and those who are on the live stream. We are a volunteer board making the best use of the gifts and talents of each member. In other words, I'm saying we have no payroll and we pay no rent anyplace. We all appreciate the generosity of the parish communities that host our events. Recently at Fatima Shrine with our own Father Rocco, and at St. Thomas the Apostle, Mike Moran's parish, and most especially our host today, St. Susanna. Pax Christi, Massachusetts has a home here in Dedham. Volunteers from St. Susanna were in this hall last night setting up and preparing for us to arrive this morning. Today, Phil Mandeville is behind the camera as usual, magically keeping everything streaming and plugged in, because that would be our biggest problem, right? And the whispering hospitality angels are either finishing the cleanup from lunch or getting the kitchen in order. More thanks are in order, and we're so grateful for all the love that you and time and energy that you've shared with us. Again, they're all volunteers. I guess the only one employed here at St. Susanna's, I don't know if he's here right now, is Father Steve. Is in the kitchen, right, which is where, and as pastor, he is the ultimate leader of generosity and hospitality. We thank you, and we just don't know, thank you really isn't a word to use. We just are so appreciative of all that we have here at St. Susanna's. Pax Christi, Massachusetts is a nonprofit organization or a 501c3, which means donations to our organizations are tax deductible. Because of this, we must send detailed reports to the IRS and to the Mass Attorney General's Office, Secretary of State, and the funds that we spend, we must align with the purpose of our organization, which is to promote Catholic social teaching. Over the years, board members have carefully monitored spending, devoting our funds to projects such as our semi-annual newsletters, our yearly spring retreat, and here our fall assembly. In July this year, our beloved Charles Gabron died. Charles was so proud to say that he was a founding member of Pax Christi, Massachusetts. Over the years, he devoted his talents to our local Metro West group, as well as serving on the Pax Christi board. Over the last decade, he served as our treasurer, and until the passing, as our assistant treasurer. I'd like to just take a moment of silence for love and gratitude to our beloved and treasured Charles. And finally, if there are any individuals interested in assisting or offering advice as we manage our financials, please be in touch. Thank you for supporting Pax Christi, Massachusetts.
Thank you, Nancy. And I think you guys have no idea how much detail work goes into being the treasurer. And although they are not members of the officers per se, I'd like to introduce our newsletter editor and our webmaster just to stand up and say hi. Linda Tail, Mike Moran. Many, many hours go into that. So this is a new thing this year of giving the reports from the groups. And so not each local group, but the overall working groups that we have. And Peter Metz will give a brief summary of PCAN's work this past year.
Hi, I'm Peter Metz. You all know what a pecan is, right? Who here likes pecans? Okay, so this is ICANN. Okay, this is the symbol for the International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons. The Nobel Peace Prize winning organization that spawned the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, which has been signed by 90 nations. Of course, none of them owning nuclear weapons, but that's their statement. So PCAN is, you can think of it as an offshoot of Pax Christi, Massachusetts. We would not exist if it wasn't for the incredible support, generosity, not financial, but time and effort and support and encouragement of Pax Christi, Massachusetts. But PCAN, instead of being the international campaign to abolish nuclear weapons, the PC in PCAN, it's PCAN instead of ICAN. The PC stands for Pax Christi. Then hidden in there is New England right now. Well, we're even bigger than New England because we have representatives, well, we have representatives from Maine, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. We also have a representative from New Mexico. Anyway, this group got started about 4 years ago, inspired by Archbishop John Wester's pastoral letter. And everything I'm going to show you is on the back table for free. We did a webinar that was successful beyond our expectations. We got almost 1,000 people across the country, including some international folks to watch it, and another over 1,000 to watch it afterwards. And then we took on a job that none of us knew how to do, but without the resourcefulness of your webmaster, the wonderful Linda Taylor, we could never have done. Linda found us a software. She learned how to administer it. And we did a US and Canadian survey of Catholics and some non-Catholics, what they knew about nuclear weapons, their attitudes, and what they were doing about it, if anything. And so that's in the report that we released, and we released it at the Pax Christi USA National Conference in Detroit at the end of July. That's this one-page summary. What did we find? Well, we found of the 900 respondents, and that was really for an amateur, non-funded, non-experienced organization to get 900 people across the country to respond to a fairly lengthy survey, although we hid it because the masterful job that Nancy did, she found survey tool where you couldn't tell that you were taking a big, long survey. And in fact, it was very short. If you said the wrong things, then there were no more questions to ask you. But if you said the right things, we had lots of questions. And it's all there in our reports, all online. The conclusions were that a lot of people, and this is mostly Catholics, we had about, what was it, 10 or 15% were non-Catholic respondents, but it really was a survey of Catholics across the US and Canada. 85% of them had some level of concern about nuclear weapons. That frankly astonished us. We did not expect that. About 40% of them were extremely concerned, and the others were somewhat concerned. And then there was this 15% that said, not a big deal. Well, that's okay. It's just not a representative sample of the world. Anyway, a lot of people, a lot of Catholics, So why aren't they doing something? Well, the reason that was the key question. We asked them, what's holding you back? Well, 40% of them are doing something. They were either campaigning or praying or something. But the other 60% are not. And what was holding them back is they just don't hear about it. It's hard to get serious about something you don't hear about. And well, most of them actually knew that Pope Francis had a strong position on this. They never hear about it in the pew. They never hear about it from the pulpit. They don't hear about it from their bishops. They don't read about it in the press, either the lay press or the religious press. We concluded there is significant potential to mobilize Catholics. And we have this grand, crazy idea called the Catholic Church saves the world from nuclear weapons. It could be done. Think of it. The Catholic Church is 1.4 billion people. Now, you all know the theory that just a small percentage of a group of any society can change that society. Something like 3%, right? Well, 1.4 billion people across the world. If you just want to pick one little percentage of that, name the smallest percentage you can name that you think might be getting aroused and want to talk to their national leaders about finding a way to eliminate the threat of nuclear weapons by collectively getting rid of them. Any small percentage you name, like 3% of the Catholics, that's such a monumental number that it could be the Catholic Church saves the world from nuclear weapons. So we think there's a lot of potential, but we've got to get out and talk about it. We've got to get our leaders, our lay and Catholic and religious leaders to talk about it. And that's our conclusion. And now the question is, how do we do that? And so we're setting about to do that. Thank you very much. We're really pleased to have your support.
Thank you, Peter and Pecan, for all you're doing, because this is certainly an existential threat to all of us. So unfortunately, you have to hear me talk a little bit more because I'm the representative from the Gaza and Palestine Working Group. So we started actually in this place a year ago at the last assembly when a group of members were concerned about the situation in Gaza, and we really coalesced to focus Pax Christi's attention and to take what action that we could. And we decided over the year that since we are a Catholic organization, our primary purpose would be to reach out to the church, as many other groups are reaching out to the public. So as a group, we've written to Archbishop Henning several times, asking for him to imitate Pope Francis, because at the time Francis was still alive, and speak out clearly for a ceasefire. He would not meet with us. He said that the Pope could do it, but he needed to limit his work to the flock, even though there are many Palestinian Catholics in the Boston Archdiocese, and to not offend the Jewish people. We held signs in front of the cathedral one week when he was preaching there, and some individuals managed to get in a few words while he was greeting the exiting congregants, but he was not really open to our message. We also reached out to the U.S. Council of Catholic Bishops in response to their document, Translate Hate, the Catholic edition, which was developed without consultation with any Palestinians, and in several places conflates speaking out against the country of Israel's policies in bombing hospitals and starving children as being anti-Semitic. We did get a response, which didn't really address the question we asked, but it did inform us that they're working on a similar statement against Islamophobia and is consulting with Muslims. So we try and involve ourselves with the Palestine Working Group of Pax Christi USA, as well as the newly formed Catholics for a Free Palestine, to really be part of the national and global allyship. We have posted information on the website and written in the newsletter. And we hope that the ceasefire will be real and bring lasting peace with justice to Palestine. We know that the work will need to continue. We would welcome new members. We meet virtually on Zoom every second Wednesday of the month at 7. And let me know if you're interested so we can send you the Zoom link. And thank you very much. Our next item of business is election of members for the Pax Christi, Massachusetts Board. Our term is 2 years, and we try to alternate years so that not everybody retires at the same time. Unfortunately, it seems that for the even years, we have Sister Linda Bessam, Mike Moran, and Sister Rita Raboyne are the only ones who are even year people who are not up for election. But you met Mike earlier, and Sister Rita, if you could give us a wave. Yes, Sister Rita, she's the queen. And those up for re-election this year are Bill Toller, Irene Descharnay, moi, Kathleen Hubert, Linda Taylor, Nancy Carapeza, and Rocco. And then Rocco is going to introduce 3 nominees, new nominees for the board.
So unfortunately, 3 people have withdrawn from the board. Phil Herrick, as our coordinator for family reasons, had to withdraw this year. Anne, I think her last name was Coppola. Again, for health reasons, she had to withdraw. And Sister Rita just informed me this past week that she's going to withdraw from the board as well for personal reasons. Luckily, we have 3 wonderful people to propose for the board. One is with us today, Lyndon Jenkins. There she is. She's a member of the Boston chapter. She works with a Palestinian Working Group in the Metro West group as well. She's been very involved with the Palestinian issue for years, and she's visited the area for an extended period of time, a number of times. She's a lawyer as well. So she's one of those to propose for a board membership. The other 2 are not here today, unfortunately. Bob Shine is a member of the Boston chapter as well of Pax Christi. He was the chair of the National Council when he was working in Washington. He returned to New England recently, and he's presently now the executive director of the Pax Christi International Fund, which funds support for Pax Christi International out of Belgium. But he's resident in Watertown. He returned to New England. He's originally from Shrewsbury. So we were proposing Bob to join our board as well. And then we have Nancy Sosnowski. She was a Maryknoll lay missionary in Thailand, although once you're a Maryknoll lay missionary, you're always a Maryknoll missionary. She worked there with the Good Shepherd Sisters for women in crafts. She also served in a detention center there in Bangkok. She's an associate member of the Sisters of Notre Dame de Namur, and she also is a member of the Boston chapter of Pax Christi. So these are the 3 people we're proposing to join our board.
And the way our elections go, well, first I'd like to ask, would anyone like to self-nominate from the floor? Yeah, no one ever takes us up on that. So we present a slate of nominees for an up or down vote. We don't do paper ballots or anything like that. So I move that we accept the slate of nominees for the coming 2 years as presented by myself and Rocco. All in favor? Yeah. Those opposed? What a surprise. And then now we have this is the best, well, except for Brother Mickey, but this is the best part of the business meeting is the 2025 Peacemaker of the Year. And it's an unusual situation in that we're sadly awarding it posthumously, but the person is part of our cloud of witnesses still. And Bill will introduce him.
Our Peacemaker Award, and we do have, we want to introduce him to you via a PowerPoint presentation that has pictures of Bob, and I could spend much time talking about Bob. Bob was one of my closest personal friends. I think one of the things you'll see in the video is that there is a couple of pictures of socks. All right, when we show the PowerPoint presentation, Bob had the best socks in the world. So when you see that, that's the context for that. But I think the other thing that I would say about Bob was very involved in our parish, Holy Cross in East Forest Park in Springfield. And initially, Bob was very involved in decorating the church. That was his great sort of artistic gift. And we invited him the second year of Just Faith in our parish 20 years ago to come and be part of that. And Bob embraced everything he learned at Just Faith in such a powerful way. And I think the video you see will speak to that. And but I think beyond that Bob was always a person that whenever you saw him, there was a huge smile on his face. He was so delighted to see you and to just catch up with you and to spend time with you. And that was really, I think, one of the gifts. He was slated to come to a barbecue at my house during the summer. We were doing a barbecue for our sandwiches volunteers. He was to pick up Ann, who was a previous peacemaker, who's sitting right. Ann, raise your hand so everybody knows who you are. And Ann called me. She said, "Where's Bob?" And we found Bob that night in his favorite chair. And that's where he passed on. That's where he transitioned to the next part of his life, which is, we know, with Jesus right now. So I think at this point, we're going to ask Jane Virgilio, who worked for 20 years with Bob, to come up and receive the award in his honor after we show this video.
Give myself away. I give my so you can use me. I give myself away. I give myself so you can. Come on, let him know. I give myself. I give myself away. So you can. Give myself away. What would happen as a generation embrace this? Come on, come on. Here I am. Here I am. To me. Try use.
I give myself, I give myself to you. Oh, you feel it. I give myself to you.
I sit at the third time, my life is not my own.
You
It's not for long. So I give myself.
give myself.
One time, one more time.
And
I give myself.
you are you.
Give myself with us. So yes, can you believe? I give myself away.
You are you.
Give myself away. So yes, can you? Give myself away. I give my.
Yeah. It's
Can I give myself.
even though I'd watch it again. Well, that was our Bob. And I do want to mention before I ask Jane to come up that Jen Collins in the front row here spent many, many, many hours this week putting that together from pictures we had gathered over the years of our involvement with Bob. And we just thought this would be the greatest tribute to him. And we had a beautiful funeral for him during the summer, and I had the opportunity to preach at that, which was a great, great honor. But I just know how much he appreciated Pax Christi and all the work we do. And so I think with that, I'm going to ask Jane to come up, and we do have, I know that our friend Pat puts together these banners every year, which are just so precious for our, so I mean, that's our legacy, I think, of honoring our peacemakers, which is so awesome. So Jane, you can have, I'll hold that until you're done.
So I think I first want to express my deep gratitude to the Pax Christi Board for making the decision to award the Peacemaker Award to Bobby. In reflecting on it, coming forward these few months, it's apparent that that gift has generated even more gifts, more blessings. Those of us who have been grieving, I think, feel like a part of us has been filled because we can celebrate this. And I believe it's going to help Bobby's healing. I think he's here. Bobby traveled everywhere. Whenever there was an event, he was there. I think his spirit is traveling with those of us who carry his energy, right? And there's several of us in this room who are doing just that, carrying him with us as we continue. So I wrote just a short reflection to capture that. So if you don't mind, let me read it. And it's called The Thread of Remembrance, Healing, and Love. You were gone before our time. Final exchanges forgone. The ways of loving remembrance pronounced and lasting. We carried felt fragments of you, wanting you to help make them whole, but you had left. You left a void for those who knew you, and your absence fed the search for what was wanting, the steady stream of moments when your many gifts were remembered, the heart-wrenching moments of witnessing your empty chair. Amidst this time of grief and imbalance, a seed of hope was found and held. Its life was lifted up for support and care. The seed was lovingly planted with assurance for its eternal presence. This tribute is for you and for us to carry as one. We give you the best we have, loving you into wholeness, proclaiming who you are, peacemaker, welcoming spirit, faithful servant. We honor you. May you be at rest and bask in eternal peace. Thank you.
Well, here it is. To give this to you, right?
Mhm.
But to give this to you because
Oh.
you're the keeper of those, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, you're doing the next part, I think.
As usual, although we have a sort of like at the Oscars where the winners from last year give the awards for this year. This is a special award that we have given from time to time to a special person who has done a lifetime of service. But before Jen introduces, I just want to thank the nominations committee of Nancy and Irene and myself for working on this. Jen, Sister Jane was supposed to present this, so Jen hasn't had much time to practice. Please be kind.
It's okay. It's okay. It's all good. All good. Okay. So this, I'm just going to read verbatim. This is the nomination of Mike Moran, for Pax Christi. Massachusetts Peacemaker of the Year 2025. And I just want to say before I read verbatim, I'm very humbled that I got asked to do this in Sister Jane's place. These big shoes to fill. We nominate Mike Moran, publisher of our Pax Christi newsletter, librarian of our organizational archive, servant of the servants of God, and friend, advocate, and organizer extraordinaire for this year's Peacemaker Award. In fact, we should all wonder that we have not so designated him earlier. His presence to us all speaks for itself. Over the years, we have learned a great deal about Mike and his car as we carpool to different peace events. Did you know he was a conscientious objector? I wonder how many people realize he has a master's in peace studies, and through that came to intern with Pax Christi in England and subsequently went to Russia to learn more. We may all know how well he knows the English language, but I wonder if anyone knows about his studies in Russian. I attribute much of this to his humility and grace. He not only has an international perspective and history, from Palmer, where he volunteers in the food pantry weekly and has long served on the library board, but travels throughout Western Massachusetts and beyond as a representative of the peace community. He has been faithfully involved in the Springfield-based interfaith campaign Nonviolence since its inception and serves as its scribe and record keeper. He is active in Northampton-based Warheads to Windmills. He is a founding member of PCAN. I can't keep track of the topics on which and the organizations for which he spreads the word for justice and peace. I can also add that he knows Vatican dignitaries working on global issues of war and peace and is involved in their planning to bring us back from the brink to the elimination of the purity and practicality of the Beatitudes in a commitment to nonviolent love. Over the past few years, when many people have done less than they would have wished because of the pandemic and political wrangling and verbal warfare, it seems Mike has done more. It didn't just happen that Pax Christi has been working collaboratively across New England and the world with our sister Pax Christi chapters and local groups and the International Treaty for the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, to name just a few of the groups he brings together and keeps on alert. Mike contributes and spreads our voice. He may be the only one of our company or disposition who doesn't receive his emails. Prayerful, prophetic, practical, Mike Moran teaches peace. It was Pope John Paul II who said that if you want to reach peace, teach peace. Mike Moran does that.
Oh, thank you, Jean.
And a little
Thank you.
gifty.
Yes, thank you very much. So I should say I'm speechless, which I am, but I will say thank you to everyone in this room and a number of people who couldn't be here today. This is not something obviously that I do myself, but all of you are part of the same community. And, we support each other. We're all here for each other. And so it doesn't get better than this, to receive this award from all of you. So thank you very much and keep up the good work. Oh.
And that concludes the business portion of our meeting.
Let's go. Sure.